Move now to Highfield Road for Coventry City's game against Southampton, who, despite domestic problems, have been showing excellent form in the league. The Sky Blues had a new player on view, looking not unlike a former favourite, Willie Carr. Your commentator, Barry Davis.
20-year-old David Bowman from Tunbridge Wells becomes the latest to join the Coventry City conveyor belt. His journey to Highfield Road covered the length of Britain, costing £100,000 from Hearts after being a schoolboy with Spurs at the same time as Terry Gibson. Gibson, though, is missing from the Coventry City team today, the first fixture of a two-match suspension. And 8 of the 12 names that we're looking at are new to the club this season, the 4 old hands being Bennett, Peake, Adams and Ginn, and they're only in their second season with the club, so every player has been signed by Bobby Gould. Southampton's run of 20 domestic games without defeat rather crashed at Queen's Park Rangers, where they lost by 4-0, but they're unbeaten in the league since September, and there's only one change in their side, and that's because of a nose injury to Mark Whitlock. He's replaced by Ruben Agbula, who gains preference over Mark Wright, who, because there isn't a reserve team match being played today, is playing for the A team. And it's happy birthday to the gentleman who came from Verona, Joe Jordan, who is 33 today. The referee is the FIFA man from Clwyd, Ron Bridges. This really hasn't been a happy ground for Southampton. Their last victory here, in fact, was in 1949. Since then, they've lost 16 times out of 23. First touch for Peter Barnes, Alan Curtis and Ruben Agbula. Plenty of room for Dennis, that's where the pass was intended, but this is Cyril Regis. Good challenge, in fact 2 of them. First touch for Bowman, who actually crossed without looking. Ginn. Ruben Agbula, who had his problems earlier in the season. Armstrong. Free kick given against Stevens. Quite a pleasant, bright afternoon. Although there has been fog around the environs of Coventry. Mark Dennis with the throw. Curtis making the first run. Bond with the back flick. And a corner has been given. Bond's back header, but Grizovic adjudged to have carried the ball over the line as he caught it. Steve Moran. Away by Regis. Curtis. Not too much width. Rather spooned by Mills. Could be a break. Well, the intention was clear from Regis, but he meant the ball to be a great deal further forward than that. Peter Barnes had to go back to collect. 2 lined up with him. Forced him across. Bennett. Goal kick. Bennett the furthest forward for Steve Grizovic. Clearance landing in the City half. Peake with the free kick. Good shout by Shilton, away, Regis. Bowman, good save. Oh, that could have been a fine start. Not the easiest of balls, it was quite high, but he forced Peter Shilton into a good save after Southampton defenders had failed to comply with his instructions and get the ball away. Regis on the near post, Shilton in the hole behind. Dennis. Armstrong. Regis. Ball got up quite high. Gin, good pace. Matched by the left leg of Bond. Gin. Out by Bond. Bowman. Another good strike. Did well to keep it down, but couldn't get it on target. Looks a useful purchase by Bobby Gould. Free kick against Mills. Well, a very satisfactory first half for the new boy, David Bowman. Certainly tightened defensively in the middle of midfield in front of the back four and provided the two best strikes of the half, one of which was the only serious threat to a half-time score of 0-0, which produced a good save from Peter Shilton. Now Joe Jordan gets the second half underway. I wonder what the managers would have said at half-time. Certainly they'll be hoping for rather more goal attempts than we saw during the first period. Southampton soldiering on, of course, without their England men, Mark Wright and Steve Williams. Although Steve Williams still hasn't gone to Arsenal. He was expected he'd go there quite quickly, but it hasn't proved to be the case. Away by Martin Jol. Well, I can't believe that she could be described as a hooligan, but she seemed to want to get onto the pitch. Regis. Slight increase in the tempo. Gin and Dennis. Corner. Stevens. Regis at the back. Trevor Preek, the scorer. Long cross that found Regis parallel with the back post. He nodded it across and Preek got in the header that Shilton struggled to keep out but failed to do. 52 minutes gone and the opening goal at Highfield Road goes to the Coventry skipper. Wallace. Moran. Perhaps a good moment to put on the record that Southampton's last league defeat was against Sheffield Wednesday back in September. In fact, it was their third defeat in their first 4 games of the season. And a year ago today, Coventry were in 4th place in the First Division. having the previous week put 4 goals past Liverpool here. Since then, in 43 matches, they've managed just 8 victories and stand 1 from bottom in the First Division. Agbula. Peak. Bennett. Free kick against Holmes. Thought amounted to a handoff. Ginn takes it quickly. Regis. Fine save! What a beautiful piece of play by Cyril Regis. That was play of old, and a good save by Peter Shilton. Stopped it being 2-0. Really lovely chest trap, and the shot on the volley. Dennis. Ginn. Nice little run. And this is Stevens. Came off Holmes. Brilliant save! Shot from Peter Barnes. And a magnificent save by Peter Shilton. So suddenly, a couple of old England players are bringing out some style from the present England goalkeeper, but not then! Came off Nick Holmes, who was supposed to be covering the near post. In fact, they had 2 men there, but the ball came off Holmes and hit the shins of Shilton, and Coventry have a second goal given them by the opposition. Bennett. The referee endeavoured to play the advantage, and in the end decided he'd have to give the free kick. Some good refereeing by the Welsh FIFA official. Could easily have blown earlier, but tried to play the advantage, and then when it didn't accrue, as it were, gave it back to Coventry. Regis on the 6-yard line. Kilcline, beaten by Jordan. Here's Bowman. Good punch, although Holmes got right in his way. Bowman. And the scratch of the head says a great deal about what's happening in the Southampton defence all of a sudden. And Bobby Gould's breath adding to the conditions. Curtis. Barnes, good footwork, withstood the challenge of Agbula too. Oh, it's got through. How many does he want to take? Unbelievable, and he very nearly made it. Thoroughly deserved applause for Peter Barnes. A bit better this time. Same 2 on the post, incidentally, Holmes and Dennis. Bennett. Well, it's been said often enough, but what a difference a goal makes to a team. Coventry have been totally different since Peak put them ahead. And Southampton have brought on David Puckett. He's replaced Steve Moran. Holmes. Curtis. Danny Wallace. I think that's the first run we've seen from him, and it was effectively ended by Mick Adams. Mills. Useful turn. Met by Kilcline. Regis, it was a bit short, but it worked. Kilcline, and here's Jordan. The goal is open, and it's 2-1. And the birthday boy scores. Coventry caught going forward. Kilcline unable to clear, and Joe Jordan running in to score his 9th of the season. So 20 minutes left, and Southampton once again offer a threat. It's getting worse, as you can see from that shot. Regis, and in fact not quite. 3-4 for Southampton, 2 just behind. Here's Jordan. Puckett! Good save by Gruzovic. Spread his considerable frame very well indeed. Lovely flick through. And Puckett was the player in on the goalkeeper, who did supremely well. And he had his difficult moments with handling in the first half, but he may well have ensured 3 points for Coventry City there. Bond and Regis. Every Southampton player moving forward. Kilcline underneath it. Joel. Not a time for anything fancy. Good immediate return by Mills. Bond. Move into the last minute. Armstrong underneath it. Puckett. Put away by Bowman. And a really rather silly push by Adams. Puts his side under pressure to the finish. Wallace with the kick. Now Gin. Bennett. We've got a third man up on the far side, who I think is Kilcline. Peter Shilton with his body all behind the shot. Barnes. It's just a question now of what Mr. Bridges has on his watch. The allowance that he's made for the odd injury and stoppage. And we know that the fog has lost, but have Southampton. Bond. Bennett to Wallace. Line of 5. Appeal for handball by Bowman. Would have been a very brave referee to give that. And Bowman has 4 up with him. Barnes on the far side. He's got to pick up somebody. Decides that possession is more important. Regis didn't make contact. Well, the gift-wrap goal conceded by Southampton on their near posts when Holmes and Dennis allowed the ball to go through to ricochet in off Peter Shilton's legs. Proves decisive and gives 3 points to Coventry, who were given the lead by their captain Trevor Peake. But it speaks volumes for the spirit of Southampton in their recent troubled times that they came back well but could only gain the consolation of a birthday goal for Joe Jordan. Final score at a very misty Highfield Road, but a happy one. Coventry City 2, Southampton 1.
Well, perhaps that defeat was inevitable for Southampton. In view of recent turmoil, they've done miracles to keep their run going until today. But 3 points was the best possible Christmas present for Coventry. And perhaps this season they'll reverse the normal trend and come on stronger in the new year. They will if captain Trevor Peake, Bobby Gould's best buy in my view, has his way. I should clarify that what turned out to be the winning goal will be registered officially as an own goal by Peter Shilton. The ball wasn't going in unaided. The others missed it, and Britain's #1 goalkeeper got himself on the score sheet. But when it comes to entertainment, there's nothing like a good old-fashioned dribbler. You can curse them when the tricks don't come off, moan about them losing the ball time after time, but when they put it all together and it works, it brings the house down, as Peter Barnes' soft shoe shuffle did this afternoon. It's worth looking at in slow motion because he's got a nutmeg putting the ball through that player's leg. That's one. He's beaten that player really there for the second time. There's the second one, but it's the third nutmeg that really is the one that is impressive. From this distance here, wait a minute, when he gets it here, watch this one. Whoops-a-daisy, through the last player, that's 3 nutmegs and 2 beatings, and if he'd lost the ball during any one of those challenges, they'd have all said he was a mug. Who'd be a winger? Tony.
Everton ended 4 games without a win today by beating Nottingham Forest 5-0 at Goodison Park. Graham Sharp scored twice, taking his total for the season to 15, and Forest were reduced to 9 men by injury and the sending off of centre-half Chris Fairclough. Tottenham manager Peter Shreeves was so delighted that his team won 2-1 at Watford following that bruising midweek UEFA Cup victory that he's told his players to take 3 days off and not report back for training until next Wednesday morning. So a few husbands available down White Hart Lane for some Christmas shopping. Both Manchester United fullbacks John Gidman and Mike Duxbury were on the score sheet as United beat Queen's Park Rangers 3-0 at Old Trafford, where manager Ron Atkinson confirmed that his search for a new defender is taking him to Holland. The Dutch international Ernie Brandts is the man who made a big impression when United played PSV Eindhoven in the UEFA Cup. And tomorrow, Atkinson will watch him play against Ajax. 7 goals in 10 games now is the record for Ian Allinson, the player keeping Scottish international Charlie Nicholas on the Arsenal subs bench. Allinson scored twice at Highbury today as Arsenal knocked 4 goals past West Brom. So with those top 4 teams all winning, the leadership of Division 1 remains the same, but the warning for the rest is that Everton, Tottenham, United and Arsenal scored 14 goals between them, conceded 1, and Southampton's defeat means there's now a 4-point gap. At the bottom of Division 1, Coventry were the only winners, but Stoke finally ended a nightmare run of 10 successive defeats when they drew 1-1 at Chelsea. Almost inevitably, Chelsea's goal was scored by Kerry Dixon. Blackburn are the new leaders of Division 2. With Oxford's game at Barnsley called off because of fog, Blackburn climbed to the top with a 3-0 win at Wolves and continued that remarkable record of scoring in every match this season. Portsmouth, Birmingham and Manchester City kept up their challenge, all winning today. Division 3 leaders Bradford made it 12 games without defeat when they won 3-0 at Reading. Rotherham move into second place, beating York 4-1, with Millwall's 2-0 defeat at Bolton, dropping them to third. Darlington are back on top of Division 4 after beating Port Vale 2-0. This morning's leaders Chesterfield were held to a 1-1 draw at Crewe, and Bury lost 3-0 at Wrexham. Arsenal seem likely tonight to increase their £400,000 bid for Southampton's transfer-listed midfield player Steve Williams, with negotiations being reopened next week. Southampton wants £700,000 for the England player, and Arsenal manager Don Howe said tonight, "We made one bid, which was rejected, and will now reconsider the position." But Howe firmly ruled out the possibility of a player exchange deal, saying, "I don't want any of my players to leave." And Southampton's England centre-half Mark Wright played his first game for nearly a month today when he turned out for Southampton in a Hampshire Senior Cup match at Eastleigh. The crowd was just 200. Wright hasn't played since his much publicised row with Southampton manager Laurie McMenemy last month. The country's top goal scorer is still Chelsea's Kerry Dixon with his total of 21 in 23 games. Mark Falco brought his total to 17 with the first goal in Tottenham's 2-1 win at Watford, while the top league goal scorer in the country is still Colchester's Tony Adcock, who got 1 goal today to reach 17 in the 4th Division with his total for the season 18. Well, while Celtic await UEFA's verdict on their latest plague of hooliganism, their players have been closing the gap on the Premier Division leaders Aberdeen, who surprisingly were held to a goalless draw at home today by Dundee. Celtic are now only 4 points behind them after this late goal beat Hibs at Easter Road.
McLeod. Johnston with a header. That's it. Mo Johnston this time gets on the end of the cross from Frank McGarvey, and the relief among the Celtic support is obvious.